that we told. Yeah, my money long. Yeah, my money tall. Earnest time is God. Heard you try to come out when it's wonder who you are. Let's get disrespectful. Let's get disrespectful. You better have some respect when you take a minute. I'ma cut you off. Cut you off. You talking to me. Cut you off my clock. Cut you out my life. Where my scissors at? Where my scissors at? Where my motherfucking oven when I need that? I'm the realest in this game, you know.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Jason Mishima coming back to you again in another video. This is part 2 of reacting to all Bleach REBIRTHofsouls character trailers. So, without further ado, you already know the drill. Your subscribe button is right down there. The like button is right next to it. Just hit the both of them and comment down below on what you think, okay, like the characters that should be added to the game. So, in the last video, as you can see, I went through Shikai Ichigo all the way to Chad's character trailer. And to be fair, the one character trailer that I was most impressed with was Chad. I'm saying it because there was one move that he had that kind of surprised me and is making me look forward to playing him when the game comes out. But that's not important. Right now, we are going to watch Kisuke Urahara's character trailer all the way to Kenpachi Zaraki's character trailer, and gonna analyze each and every single one of them and see which one of these 5 trailers, which one actually is the best. And to be fair, we're gonna start with Kisuke Urahara's right now. Alright. So you got a glimpse of Benihime. Alright, the enigmatic master of the Urahara shop who stands freely at close quarters offensively and defensively with a fearless smile. That is Kisuke Urahara.
I have no other choice.
Very nice. Okay. So distinctive techniques, he has a special flash attack. Similar to Byakurai, an attack has a wide attack range and can be used to check on opponents at a distance, thus hindering their movements. It's actually kind of interesting, although it's not really going to do much since it's just going to be a poking mechanic. Yep, just a poke. So spiritual move version 1, Kamisori Benihime. Sending blood slashes forward. Kamisori Benihime is slow to charge but has a high hit rate and can cancel out an opponent's projectiles. So generally it's like his own version of Gesuga Tensho, but it overrides every other projectile used. Alright, so his next attack, Spiritual Pressure Move 2, Are You Prepared? For a certain period of time, Urahara takes the fight just a bit seriously. Time between his actions are reduced and his mobility greatly increases. It's actually very interesting because this is somewhat like a buff. So his Spiritual Pressure Move 2 is more or less a buff for him, and generally he can perform most of his movesets without any form of delay within his actions, which actually looks very interesting. Let's see. Yep, it's a buff. Yep, it's a buff. Alright, so looking at his awakening, he's awakening his Shikai Benihime. Alright, releasing Shikai Benihime enhances regeneration of the reversal gauge, so it quickly refills the reversal meter over time as long as the awakening is active, and increases opportunities to activate flash steps and reverse actions. So bro might be spamming reverse actions for most of the fight, and he can pull off multiple flash steps in order to extend his combos, which I find very interesting. So far, I'm actually impressed. Interesting. We just got a glimpse of his Kiko move utilizing one of his attacks with Benihime, and it actually looks astonishing as always. In the end, he's a well-balanced character who has actions for all situations. So generally, if you're looking for a balanced character to start off the game with, Kisuke Urahara is your guy. Now, moving on, we're going to the next character trailer. So far, I'm actually kind of interested in Urahara. But wait, this is just the start. We're moving on to Genichimaru and see how his character trailer pulls off. Alright, we got Kamishine Oyari. Alright, the captain of Squad 3 with the fastest Zanpakuto that swallows Ichimaru's opponent with a single blow, hidden in the blade balance. Not gonna lie, when I first watched Bleach, and I saw this guy pull off his sword like this, I was actually kind of scared because something wasn't right. Because they say captains, Zanpakutos, represent your spiritual energy, and like, how did he become a captain if his spiritual energy of his sword is so small? Only for me to realize this nigga can just extend it like Goku's power pole. So signature move, Serpent Strike. You can extend Shinso towards the opponent at a high speed thrust. Holding down the input strengthens the performance. So not too sure if this like I'm not really sure if holding down the input actually amplifies the damage as well, or it's more or less just helps increase the range. So it more or less just increases the range of this thrust attack. Since this is just a signature move, it's not really that important, but it was exceptional for poking. Yep. Yeah. It more or less just depends on the range. Like the longer you hold down the input, the longer his sword becomes. Pause. All right. So his first move, spiritual pressure move one, Urozuki. Ichimaru turns his back to his opponents to catch him off guard. Kind of disrespectful, but it's okay. Then extends his Shinso to counterattack. So it's also a counterattack move. Okay. If the counterattack lands, he activates Snake Possession and the attack damage of the tip of Ichimaru's spear is enhanced. And it's also a damage boost if successfully counterattacked. So not only is it disrespectful, but also a counterattack that can also, if it lands perfectly, it can increase the damage of said attack. Oh Lord, have mercy. Okay, isn't that a bit too much? Nah, but isn't it? Maybe. And he can follow up with a combo, and that's even worse. Alright, spiritual pressure move to Shinso Sosen. So cleave a wide area with Shinso. If the attack lands, it extends for a follow-up attack. Not too sure if this damage scaling is going to be greater than the spiritual pressure move 1, but we might see that when the game releases. Okay, nice. Alright, so we're going to see him activate his Bankai. Alright. So in Awakening, by releasing Bankai Kamishi no Yari, Ichimaru's range of attacks increases, allowing for a fighting style that keeps opponents at bay. Looking at it now. Okay, so from what I'm seeing in his Awakening and generally his gameplay trailer, bro is exceptional in all mid and long range combat. I don't really see any flaws within close range as well, since he can still make up for it. Let's see the results. Alright. So Genichimaru's strong medium to long range combat, utilizing long reach abilities to keep opponents at bay. No implication of him having a weak side of close range combat. So he is basically a better version of Byakuya. Yes, I said it. He is a better version than Byakuya Kuchiki, and I'm already impressed. Moving on. Alright, Rangekyu Matsumoto. What can you add on to the table? Okay, Hineko. Alright. The charming lieutenant of Squad 10, she can turn her sword into ash and run freely across the battlefield. Okay. Boys, we must stay focused. Focused. Alright, so looking at it, not too much. Okay, so signature move, Hado 31, Shakaho. Fires a Shakaho that travels at a slow speed. If it hits, it can be used for a follow-up attack. It's a simple attack but has a lot of utility. A simple attack, you say, but having a slow ass speed means that you can only pull this off in a close range fight. So as you can see in the visual, it only works if you're close range. If she's in mid range or the long range and she fires this attack, it has a slow speed, but it doesn't mean that the range of this attack is varied. So this can easily be sidestepped or blocked depending on where you fight it. If it's not close range, you might not be able to do the follow-up attack. Why are they why are they showing that it can spam? You can spam this move over and over again. Spiritual pressure move 1, you're too slow. A counter move allowing Ranky to come up behind her opponent and blow them away with a Shakuho. Wait, a counter move just for her to teleport right behind you and spam the same signature move. I would say that's kind of okay, but still, it's just still the same move. But she could at least teleport behind you and spam it. Oh god. Okay, so spiritual pressure move to Haru number 33, Sukatsui. Thrust both palms up and down and unleashes Sukatsui, an attack with weak range and speed but high damage. You see, at least the attack has a high damage. The only issue is that you can only pull this off the same way like how you can prove Shako off. Close range. Not mid range, not far range, close range. Because the worst one is that this is even worse than Shako. It actually has a weak range. That's already a sign that this shit can only be utilized in close quarters. And the speed as well is even worse. Oh, you know what? I'm not really impressed by her spiritual pressure moves. So let's just move on to the awakenings. All right. All right. Let's see. So releasing her Shikai Heineko changes specific actions along his fighting style. Her signature move Heineko Spread. So they changed the Shakuho to Heineko Spread. Good, like that's actually very good. I hope they also change spiritual pressure moves as well, but they imply that. It's a unique fighting technique that allows us to control her opponent's movements. How so exactly? I'm not really seeing how it can control the opponent's movements, but okay. Let's see the results. So, Ranku Matsumoto, strong and medium range attacks and abilities that break the opponent's rhythm. So, she's not good in long range, and she may not be good in close range as well. So it's only mid range that it has like that's her best asset. Okay, that's actually okay. But I'll be honest, above the previous two, I am least impressed by this. I am very, very least impressed by this. You know? And we got Toshiro Hitsugaya. Yeah, again, we got Hirimaru. Alright, so captain of squad 10, who became the youngest captain in history thanks to his unrivaled Ice Baku that allows him to take the initiative in battle. Alright. And just like this now, we have the first character with his own gauge. So it's called Tensu Jurin gauge. When the gauge is built up, the player enters a Tensu Jurin state, which greatly enhances specific techniques. Techniques specifically, any form of ice-based attack that you have in your arsenal, or basically his spiritual pressure moves in total. Now the gauge decreases if Toshiro does not land an attack or is hit by the opponent's attack. So the only way for you to build up this technique is if you attack your opponent, if you're constantly putting the pressure on your opponent, which is actually very confusing because Toshiro is not really like a upfront pressuring kind of character, but maybe the game is just trying to tell you to be more offensive with him instead of being less offensive. So moving on, spiritual pressure move 1, we have Soten Hyogeki, and it's an instant attack that can be used at long range. Soten Hyogeki rains down an ice block on top of an opponent, creating additional attack openings, which is actually kind of interesting though. So this can be spammed from anywhere within the map because it is a long distance attack that can spawn directly on top of the opponent. Very interesting, but the opponent can still block this attack or can sidestep it in if he can react on time. Alright, so spiritual pressure move to I'm sorry for butchering the name. I'll say this one more time. I'm sorry for butchering the name. I'm trying my very best to at least pronounce it with enough respect and dignity. So Hyoryu Renbu, a rush attack with excellent range and speed. Finally, something that Rankyu doesn't have, making it easy to hit an opponent between their actions. Oh, even better. So it's more like a wake up attack or during a surprise attack, depending if your opponent lets their guard down. It's actually very interesting. And you can follow up. Okay. Alright, let's see the Bankai. Let's see Daigen Hirimaru. Alright, so he ends Awakening. Releasing Bankai Daigen Hirimaru, Toshiro's abilities are enhanced. This also increased the amount of Tensou Jurin gauge, giving the ability to overcome opponents even greater. So his Awakening allows you to build his gauge faster. instead of how he was doing it in his base form, which is actually okay to be fair. But again, it still depends. What does his technique, his gauge do if it's filled to like his highest level? Does it slow down the opponent? Does it make it easier to to attack his opponents, creating more openings? And so like what else does it do? We don't have that much specifications, but it's okay. So far, his gameplay, his movements, and the animation for Daigon Hirimaru is actually well done. And he does look like he excels in mid and close range combat, especially in long range as well. So a strong battle initiative with a variety of utility and counters that can be enhanced. I already feel like Toshiro might be an underrated character for people to use, but hey, we'll see what the other guy we see what the other characters have in store. But so far, looking at from him to Kisuke and to who else again and to Genichimaru, I do feel like Toshiro is like right at the third spot, but I can't really specify that yet because we are still yet to see Kenpachi Zaraki's character trailer. So after we watch this one, I'll give you my guess on between the five of them, who is the best out of the five and in ranking. So, all right, so we have Kenpachi Zaraki's Anbakto without a name, and look at it now. We have Captain of Squad 11 and successor of the Kenpachi name. He's a powerful warrior capable of facing off against the strongest opponents. You already know. They already explained Kenpachi. Yeah, this is not glazing. This is like the premium level of what he is as a character in Bleach, especially in Soul Society arc, and menacing as well. Oh, he's fast. Signature move. Try to cut me. They're utilizing the same scene when he first met Ichigo, as he spread his hands. Was like he basically opens himself up, letting Ichigo to attack him. And when Ichigo tried to attack him, his blade could not even penetrate through his skin. And they're actually implementing it in the game as a signature move, which is actually very interesting. But I do see a lot of Kenpachi players going to spam this as much as they can. Now, so basically it says, signature move, try to cut me. While input is held, Kenpachi holds his arm outstretched in a stance and attacks when the input is released. The power of the released attack increases according to the amount of damage Kenpachi receives while in this stance. So we're not too sure if he takes damage within this stance. It does not specify here, so potentially he takes no damage, which kind of would make him a bit broken. But it also shows that it only works if the opponent is only utilizing normal attacks or heavy attacks, not spiritual pressure moves or signature moves. We're not too sure if spiritual pressure moves, signature moves are outlined out of this signature move, but it depends. It generally just depends. If it doesn't outline it, then Kenpachi is already a broken character that needs to be nerfed before the game gets launched. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. There has to be limitations towards an ability, and the limitation towards this is normal attacks and heavy attacks, nothing more. Alright, so spiritual pressure move 1, chop you up. A large down swinging slash. The attack can hit an opponent at a distance as Kenpachi takes a large step forward during the attack. This does look like a combo ending attack for most people who are not aware, but it actually does look nice. And it's actually kind of scary too. It looks like it does a lot of damage though. Yeah, it does a lot of damage though. And then spiritual pressure move 2. Nothing I can't cut. Kenpachi charges and slashes his opponent. If it hits, Kenpachi follows up with a flurry of attacks. Holding down the input will add the effect of breaking an opponent's guard. So generally, Kenpachi is already showed as a character who's capable of breaking the opponent's guard and leaving them open for his Kikon move. Like I said before, there are only 3 ways in order for you to activate your Kikon move. Either one, you take your opponent's health down to 0, or you take your opponent's health down to 30%, or you break their guard. And I can tell you this, if your opponent is going to pull off a spiritual pressure move 2 of Kenpachi and you're guarding, I am very sorry for you because that's already 3 stocks gone. Sorry, that's just how it is. Alright, so let's see his awakening. It's already going to be very crazy. So he's awakening by removing his eye patch, also removing his limiter, which and Kenpachi will be able to fight with all of his strength, increasing his attack power and reishi even when attacking head on. Kenpachi's Kiko move also becomes stronger, making it easier to turn the tide of battle from a losing situation. So the awakening is generally a comeback mechanic, which not only gives him a boost in strength and a boost in attack power and reishi, but also bro can easily just make like a 2 stock Kiko move jump all the way to possibly 3 or 4 stocks. Oh, I thought this guy couldn't get any crazier. The only thing I do see for Kenpachi is that he is just a close range fighter. Nothing does showcase about him as a long range expert, obviously. The mid range is just spiritual pressure move one is a step into a long slash. But yeah, it generally just revolves around him being a close range fighter, but with overwhelming power as well. So overall, Kenpachi Zaraki has overwhelming offensive power with extreme resilience. It's actually very nice. And looking at it right now, I can already see people will be spamming the signature move like it's nothing. Now, overall, I'm gonna have to stop here for the character trailers. But looking down at the 5 that we watched, ranking them from best to worst, I would say, in terms of like, let's say in balance, like in terms of balance and utilization in all ranges, I would basically put either Gin I'll put Gin at number 1 because he feel like he has good pokes, he has good reads, and he's also kind of disrespectful with most of his signature moves. So yeah, I feel like I'll put Gin at number 1. Urahara will be number 2. Obviously, the reason why Urahara is number 2 is because he's well balanced in all aspects, not only offensively, defensively, but also in counters as well. Kenpachi will be number 3 because he is a brute in offensive power and is really a good character in comeback to make a comeback. But the thing is, it doesn't really specify much about his defense, and it might seem as though his defense may be lacking just to enhance his offensive power. Again, you can't have one thing and expect the other thing to still be good. Like there needs to be a balance. So yeah, I believe Kenpachi will be taking number 3 spot. Toshiro will be number 4, obviously. Although like his gauge still they didn't really explain how it will be utilized, even though it's at max capacity. Well, it does showcase that he can enhance his moves when he awakens, but it doesn't really show much. And of course, obviously, number 5 is Rug Q. I'm sorry, like you can't tell me that me spamming Shaka Ho is gonna make the change the time of battle. You cannot tell me spamming a move that is slow and it doesn't work in any range aside for close range. You can't tell me that's a good character. I'm sorry, you can't tell me that's a good character. So yeah, she's literally the bottom tier. I feel like she's gonna be the bottom tier when this game comes out. I don't. There's no video that was gonna explain she's underrated. No, there's no video that's gonna say that she's a strong character in secret. No, she is gonna be a bottom or low tier character. I can bet you that. So without further ado, that is the entire that's the Bleach Rebirth of Souls character trailers that I'm going to be watching today. So far, we've covered Urahara, Ginichimaru, Matsumoto Q, Toshio Hizugaya, and Kenpachi Zaraki. In the next episode, or in the next video, I'm going to talk about Bankai Ichigo. Yeah, we're going to start from Bankai Ichigo character trailer. I'm going to reach all the way up to Izuru Kira. All right? But as again, I said it before and I'll say it again. Because you're watching this video, if this is the first time for you watching this video, please, I kindly ask for you to subscribe. The subscribe button is right down there, right next to my account name. Please just hit that button and hit the like button that's right next to it. I would really appreciate it very much if you do so. And I appreciate it more if you help me reach up to 200 subscribers. Please share this to your friends as well to help me push further and further beyond. Because only you guys can make that possible. And I will keep trying my best in order to make this possible. So without further ado, I'd like to say this one more time. My name is Jason Mishima. I am going to sign off right now. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.